Super Cool Radio!
Hello everyone, I am Matthew Thomas. This is Super Cool Radio. We got a very crowded screen, first ever 5-person interview here on Super Cool Radio. So let me introduce you my guests at this time. We have NVision, a really awesome modern rock band, and the members of NVision joining me at this time. We got Phil on bass, Nate on drums, Chase on guitar and backup vocals, and Alex on vocals and keyboards. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me.
No problem. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man.
So I'm going to kick this interview off with a fun question. See how you guys react to this. If you could only pick one album everyone should listen to in their lifetime, what would it be?
The Silver Scream Deluxe Edition by Ice Nine Kills.
I love that album. And I love that they're coming out with a new album, too, very soon.
Yeah, man. Hit to Be Squared is my jam right now.
Dude, love Ice Nine Kills. I've seen them once, and, it was just insane.
Me and Nate are going to go see them in October.
Nice. That's going to be a good show.
For me, November. Valentine's Screaming on Fire.
November 15th.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That is a good one. Nate, what about you?
The new Love and Death album, Perfectly Preserved. That is such a good album. I've been listening to it on repeat.
I'm not familiar with them. I'll check that out.
It's Brian Head Welch from Korn. Their guitarist is his band.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're really, really good.
That's cool. Well, check them out. I like Korn. So, I mean, what's kind of the style of that?
It's completely different than Korn. It's more of a modern rock because it's got the bassist is one of the guitarists from Breaking Benjamin. I think his name is Jason. I can't remember his last name, but anyways, he's like the bassist, drummer. I don't know if he's in another previous band or anything, but JR is an Islander. And he's also been touring around with GFM lately, doing guitar tech and kind of helping with stage and stuff like that with them. But he's like a secondary vocalist in the band, and it is such a phenomenal album. But yeah, Love and Death, Perfectly Preserved is the album.
I'm gonna have to check that out. All right, and Alex, my man, what about you?
I'm gonna throw back a little bit and say They're Only Chasing Safety by Under Oath.
Those are all really good picks, and actually some music I haven't listened to, so I'm going to have to check that out. But, yeah, those are all very good picks. Also, you guys have been very busy. As I said, I'm talking with NVision. You played at Anxiety Fest on July 3rd. I know you guys had a show the day before this interview as well. So how does it feel to be playing live shows?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It's cathartic.
Chase actually played his first show of us last night.
Yep.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. That was a great time.
Wow. All right. I gotta change that.
Packed house.
Yes.
So, how was the show last night? Where were you guys?
We were at the Juke Joint in Ocean Springs, and we played for Dirty 30 Fest. It was with Ignite the Fire, Estion Embers, Kingdom Collapse, Ventress from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Silent Trust is another local band.
Yeah, I'm familiar with a lot of those bands. Actually, I'm seeing Kingdom Collapse next month, actually, so I'm very excited for that. They're really cool. But so, how do you guys? What can people expect from an NVision show if they have not seen you guys?
Energy.
Yeah,
Lots of Alex just blurring across the stage. Let's just say that.
a lot of energy, a little bit of goofiness, some dancing. You know, Alex has some killer moves that he likes to, you know.
Lots of flipping. Alex flipping a lot, so.
Apparently swinging mics around Phil's neck. You know.
Yeah.
I have heard about that. What's some like the wildest moments you guys that's happened to you guys on stage?
I mean,
I say probably honestly, it's not super wild, but the coolest moment is actually our first show, and back then it was just me, Nate, and Kevin, who can't be with here tonight. He's driving. We were in Oklahoma, and my son was there as well in the audience. In the middle of our set, he actually ran up on stage, and so I got to like hold my son like on stage at one of my shows, and that was probably definitely top 5 coolest moments of my life.
Dude, yes.
So before in my previous band, we played a show in Ocean Springs, our first and only show in Ocean Springs, by the way, because we got kicked out that night. We were very theatric. Yeah, Nate knows. Because I was a guitar player at the time, so my singer came out with a giant paper mache penis strapped onto his that had a hose hooked to it, and there was a whole pump full of blood backstage. And while the person who controlled our lights was pumping the blood, and so he was just squirting blood out of his, all over the place, and we got kicked out because the owner did not appreciate his floor being covered in water and food coloring. So that was a pretty funny moment. Yeah.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Neither was I.
Oh, no one ever does. No one ever does.
It was at least entertaining, at least sounds like it.
Yeah, it was entertaining to put it simply. Okay, I don't know about doing well, but it was entertaining. It was fun.
So I had an interview with one guy, and he was part of a band, and like they would like after their set, they would like hit each other with like pie pans, like pizza pie pans, because it would make the noise but not really hurt. And like all of like the owners in the club, like the owners and the managers always thought they were like actually hated each other. It was like the drummer and the guitarist would like after the set just hit each other with stuff, and like everyone was like, no, don't get mad at you guys, you just finished a great set. So
Drama.
Go ahead.
I think one of my favorite moments that we had was it was actually before we switched up and I bought some new Fox Solution boards. We was at a show over in Slidell, Louisiana, and we ended up setting off the fire alarms with our Fox. In the middle of the set, we were sitting there and I saw these lights start flashing. I was like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden it's like, bah, bah, bah. And I'm like, oh. And they're like, yeah, you kind of just set off the fire alarms.
Yeah, the owners were cool about it. The guy said he kept on like running back and forth because there was like the alarm and the silencer and like the thing to make sure that the fire department didn't come were on different sides of the building, and he had to keep on running back and forth. He was like, "It's fine, it was a good show."
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
See him right. It's okay, guys. I just don't want to call the fire department. Over here.
Yeah. If the fire department comes for a false alarm, it's like $100 or $200 charge. So I can imagine
about it either.
Yeah, that's like getting a late fee at a library. It's like sure, it's not that bad of a fee, but do you really have to pay it?
It is true. I mean, I pay taxes, so I mean, I don't have to have library fees, right? I don't have to pay those.
That's true. That's true. Hey, that's a good point to bring up.
Not get into politics.
I say I too. I don't get into politics either.
Nate, your internet sucks.
Yeah, I know. Hey, y'all are skipping around too.
A very cool thing I want to talk about because I work with James Cripps of Blind Anxiety Entertainment. So earlier this year, you guys were involved in Anxiety Fest. How was it? It looked like a lot of fun.
It's the first time I went up on stage with them. I went up on there for one song, Showstopper. But watching them live was really cool. It was fun to see because it was my first time I saw them live as well. So seeing how energetic Alex was, it was cool because I knew me and him would work well together on stage because we're both very energetic individuals on stage. So it was fun.
On stage. And then I guess like, cause I'm so lively on stage and then I get off stage and that's when like my, like a little bit of social anxiety comes in. So it's like, I'm just quiet as heck before we get on stage. And then I'm like a maniac on stage and then I get off and I'm like super quiet again. And like people are like, you guys did amazing. And I'm like, thank you. I really appreciate you coming out. You know, thanks.
Dude, I feel you on that. I sometimes do the same thing when I MC. Like I'm like all energetic and stuff, and I get off stage. It's like, hi, thanks for coming. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, there definitely is. It's like an under talked about thing that like we are performers and like people especially like at my job and stuff because I'm a restaurant manager. I'm like you wouldn't recognize me outside of work, and people are like, well, you're so energetic on stage and things like that. I'm like, yeah, like, I don't know who that is. He looks exactly like me, but that's not me. That's like some other guy that just takes over me when the music starts.
Oh yeah, dude, for sure. I know that's with a lot of performers. Like you see them on stage, like I know like metal performers, you see them on stage and they look like really mean and stuff, but then like you get them like off the stage, they're like super nice and friendly to talk to. It's kind of funny, just the different personas you have.
Dude, Earth Groans. They were on tour with O Sleeper before COVID, right? Whenever O Sleeper came back. And Earth Groans, first off, the lead singer has this like handlebar mustache, and it's just amazing. But he was on stage, and he looked like he was a freaking gladiator. He was just, and then like I talked to him afterwards, and said, hey, man, how's it going? I'm really glad you guys came out. Thanks for supporting us. And I'm like, what?
I was in a deathcore band one time, and our singer was like that. He on stage, he was like animal, man. And then like as soon as we get done, he'd be like, people are like, that was awesome. You're like, thanks for coming out. He's the biggest sweetheart ever, but on stage, it's like that dude will rip your throat out.
It's just funny, just the way people act on stage, like performing, and like act outside of it, or like at their job or real life and stuff. Like it's very funny, just the way people are.
Yeah, for sure.
But definitely looked very cool. I saw the photos in the Broken Hearts Club of you guys at Anxiety Fest. Looked like a lot of fun. James is a really awesome guy. Puts on some killer shows and tours and stuff. I really like working with him. So it's cool they actually had like a whole Anxiety Fest for blind anxiety.
Oh, same, man. Like he's done nothing but like go above and beyond for us, man. Like he's so awesome to work for or work with. I'm sorry, not for, but work with.
Yeah. Yeah, James really, we've come a long way in the last year, and James definitely helped with that. But, he kind of took a risk on us. At the time that he brought us on board, we only had 2 singles out. We hadn't really toured. We hadn't really played shows. I mean, we'd only been a band for 3 months. And, he just, I guess, liked us as people and the passion that we had. And I had been doing NVision for 3.5 years at this point. And then I brought the other guys on with me. And I guess he was just like, well, we'll try it and see how it goes. We'll do 6 months. And then come January, he had been working with us for a little bit, getting ready for those tours to start. And he was like, I think this is something that we want to continue. And we've been working really well together since then. I think we just hit a year with him.
Yeah.
He's really cool. He's got the whole blind anxiety roster. Just like I've worked with many of them, and they're just like so cool people to work with, and they just put out like killer music. He doesn't it's mostly in the rock genre, but also he's got the metal stuff too. Like it's really cool. Like just blind anxiety and what James is doing for sure.
Yeah, man. Like he's got like, but that's the thing about blind anxiety and stuff, man. I mean, it's not like the same rock bands that you go see every, Saturday, Friday or Saturday. Like everybody on the Blind Anxiety group, even just being rock and metal, is a diversity. Like, and that's one thing that a lot of rosters don't do. A lot of them, they'll put people on like their entertainments and something like that, and like entertainment rosters, and they'll just be like one particular band that basically everybody's almost like a carbon copy of, like, and then you got people that's like Blind Anxiety that's just like, what, we're gonna have guys like NVision, but then we're also gonna have like the Almas and Wild Street and those groups.
Yeah,
The regimes.
Yeah, the regimes, exactly. Like everybody's got their own thing going on.
Yeah, the regimes are awesome. I started listening to them because I started working with James, and like they're really awesome. Like they really are.
Oh, they're fun people to tour with too.
Oh, yeah.
Like we have a blast.
And Aaron loves Oreos. So if you ever meet or go see them in concert, make sure you bring a huge pack of Oreos for Aaron. She will love that.
Like the hugest fan of Oreos.
No, she actually hates them. And
I was trying to decipher if that was a joke or not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
We stashed it all over the stage for him.
we like stuck one of our stickers on a pack of Oreos, stuck it inside their merch box, and just like
So with us,
A
it's
little
always a
present.
surprise.
Yeah, we like to have fun.
Yes. Nothing but a good time.
For sure. Sorry, yeah, I was trying to figure out if you were joking or not. I finally picked up on that. That's why I wasn't saying anything right away. But, yeah, but I like how Nate said the Almas and Wall Street. I recently interviewed them within like the past couple weeks, so it's funny you mentioned both of them.
Yeah, man, I wouldn't say the Almas. They came down. I think they were Urban House.
Yeah, the Bourbon House. Yep.
Yeah. So they came down like a little while back, and like they every one of them. Like I stood there for the longest time and talked to Josh, their guitarist, and they're just such cool people. As a matter of fact, I was talking to Josh the other day, and first thing he was like, "Hey," he's like, "NVision, Almas." I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "If we can meet somewhere in the middle, maybe." I was like, "Or whatever we can try to do." I was like, "Or if you guys ever try to make it back down to Mississippi or anywhere in the area," I was like, "Just let us know." I was like, "And we'll be there." And then Wild Street, they did. They were the I guess you'd say like the secondary acts for the Summer Throwdown this year, because it was kind of like how we did with the show last night. Like there was so many bands outside, and then it was them and another band was on the inside, and there was kind of like the after hours type, like little, I guess say like after hour party, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, they played. Me and Alex went and met them and stuff. Really cool guys.
Yeah, they're really cool. I've seen them twice now, and I've interviewed them. Interviewed the full band once, and Eric once, and yeah, they're really awesome. They're on tour with the Rumors right now, which I wish I could have saw them, but I was the same day they were in Chicago. I was interviewing the Almas in my home city, so I was like, I wish I could be at two places right now. I really wish. All right, so focusing on you guys, I'm chatting with NVision right now. So before NVision, how did you guys get started as musicians?
It was just kind of in my blood. Like I have a family member that got me started playing drums, and then he went off and became a rock star, and that's pretty much how I started. I was like, when I was a kid, I was just like, I want to be like him, and then I just kind of grew into my own and started learning my own type of styles and stuff. I mean, I played rock bands, deathcore, metalcore, emo, punk rock type bands and stuff. So tried a little bit of every genre, but that's how I got started. Like I said, watching my cousin when I was a kid, and I was like, I want to be a drummer. So that's when I started playing drum.
Nice.
I just remember like flipping through Netflix when I was
While you're driving?
No, I was like 13. No, I was about 12, and I saw Korn's. Shut up. I saw Korn's live DVD. One of their live DVDs was on Netflix, and I watched it, and I was really blown away by their performance, and I was like, that's what I want to do. And then later on down the road, I heard MCR, My Chemical Romance, and then I picked up the guitar and learned Na Na Na, and then it just went from there. Then other bands came into play, and I kept watching them live. And then since then, I was like, that's what I want to do. And then I would try and write terrible rip-offs of their songs and call it my own and try and start little cover bands in school and stuff. And now here we are.
Right on. Phil, what about you? I know you haven't talked very much, too much during this interview. So what about you, Phil?
I just play bass. No, I'm kidding.
It was whenever he wrote the Tarzan album.
It's fire. It is fire. But I don't know. I was like 11 or 12 back in Japan, military brat. I remember playing my first video game in Mortal Kombat. Actually, not my first, but back to it. Playing Mortal Kombat, and I remember seeing a music video for Edema. And I was like, whoa, I really like how that sounded. I mean, of course, there's other music stuff you used to listen to Word Out. I mean, still do, regardless. But honestly, from that moment on, I was like, man, I like where it sounds. I wanted to, get some stuff going. So by that summer, I saved up some money because being overseas. So when I went off base, I bought my first guitar for like 80, 200 yen because it was at a pawn shop. I stopped to this day. But I mean, just working into that money, saving to buy that first instrument was really pushed me. And on and off for years, then meeting Nate and finally getting this series. So,
Very cool.
Oh yeah,
one man left. Alex, what about you?
So I guess you could say like Nate is kind of in my blood. I've been watching my dad playing bands most of my life. He was in a pretty big rock band down here when I was growing up. And they had, I think they just played their like last show. He had been out for a while, but they had just played their last show like a few years back. Now he's in Pennsylvania and they play like Music Fest and, they play for like NASCAR events and stuff like that. Like they're like Americana, rockabilly kind of style. And, he's been doing that with them for a couple of years. So I guess you could say it's in my blood. And I was starting to like, write little melodies and songs and stuff like that when I was like 5 or 6. We'd be like going home from church and I'd just be like, start singing stuff. And then it really kind of hit me when I was in middle school. And that's really when I got into like Under Oath and The Devil Wears Prada and, Attack Attack wasn't out yet. It was like right before they came out and there was just like all this stuff going on in the scene. Back then there was like this church that was about 45 minutes away that they held metal festivals like once a month. And I'm talking like, I saw a Plea for Purging there right after they got signed by Face Down Records. A band called like With Blood Comes Cleansing, which is like this metal, like super, super, super deathcore Christian band.
I think I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
When it came to that kind of music, my favorite band was Impending Doom. Impending Doom was like that straight up deathcore.
Yeah. And so that's kind of where I kind of started. I had a band in high school. We did pretty well. Actually, the piano on my wall behind me is the piano that I played in high school with my band. It broke down, so I just got with a friend of mine who's an artist, and we painted it and took out all the components and stuff. But yeah, it's just over the years, in my blood, watching it, music's kind of just always been a part of me.
All very cool. I do like the church holding death metal festivals. That's
it was a thing. It was a thing.
Yeah.
It sounds funny to say in that like church death metal in a sentence.
Right. Yeah. It was Christcore, I think is what they call it now.
That's awesome. If I had some around that where I live, I would definitely check it out.
Oh yeah, the cool thing was, I mean, you didn't even have to go to those churches. You didn't even have to you really didn't even have to be like in church to go to a lot of that stuff. They just welcomed everyone.
Yeah. They were
really
You see Christians flipping table with whips and stuff, so I'm just like, go for it. Hey, just Jesus flip tables too, though.
That's right, for the money changers.
That's true.
Take no sass.
That's right. For sure. That's why we have death metal churches.
Exactly.
Evolution.
I know.
Right.
That's right. Man, I gotta go to one of those, man. I really do. I know this is on my script, but I got a cool question for you guys. So, for any advice for anyone looking to start playing a respected instrument?
Passion. Just stick to it and don't give up. Doesn't matter how hard it seems to be or how. If you can't find anybody, then just use a loop pedal if you have the ability to use it, or just record it. Use a backtrack. Just do everything you can and don't give up. Because if you have that drive and you have that ambition, then at some point, if you don't go to them, they'll come to you.
Great. Come up with a technique. You don't have to copy somebody else. Just learn from others, watch, observe, lead yourself, have some support, and just keep going. Like you said, it all just takes drive and passion. I agree. Just go for it.
I like that a lot. Nate, what about you?
Man, I tell you what, when people say, I've always wanted to learn how to play drums, I always follow up with, it's a lot easier than it looks, or a lot harder than it looks. But I've come to realize too that most drummers are ADHD, so it does help because I have my moments, but for the most part, I'm a lot more calm because it's almost like a release. I'm sorry. It's like a stress release. So you go and beat the hell out of drums and, you feel a lot better afterwards. But no, it's just practice, man. Practice, drive, and just don't give up. If it's something you really want to do and something you really want to pursue, go for it. All or nothing.
I like that. I really do. I was at a show last night. I saw Shallow Side, and the opening band, he was really going hard on the drums. He actually broke his bass drum. So they played impromptu. It was just a guitarist. He just played an impromptu song, and he fixed it, and he returned. He only missed one song. I was like, that is awesome. That's rock and roll.
Yeah.
Alex, what about you?
Speaking of, Nate, you should probably get some spare bass drum heads for tours in case something like that happens on the road.
If I haven't done it by now, I don't know if I will. I got a backup snare now, just for that reason.
Yeah,
well,
he hits his drums pretty hard.
Hours, so.
I would say the biggest piece of advice I could give for a vocalist, and really just any instrument player, is get some freaking lessons. If Haley Williams has a vocal coach, who the hell do you think you are that you don't need one? There's so many people, and I've talked to people that didn't, they weren't quite at the level that I was, and they looked up to me at different points in my music career, and they were asking me how to get better, and I was like, get a teacher. And they're like, oh no, that's dumb. No, it's not. I'm actually vocally trained in spirituals, which is, this sweet Lord, sweet child. That is my vocal training. And so that helps me with my runs and things like that. I also have a 4-octave range. And even a lot of people don't, well, the people around here do, but people that, don't know about NVision, from this area wouldn't know that a year ago I couldn't really scream. And so the producer that we have now, if you notice, if you start with She Said and Showstopper and go forward, the screaming gets less yelling and more screaming, because while we have been working on these songs and going to the studio, I have been developing my harsher vocals with the coaching from our producer, which is Zach Keel, the Flower Shop. He's in New Orleans, Louisiana, and absolutely incredible producer and coach, and has taught a lot of artists out there to scream correctly. And so I guess the biggest piece of advice that I could give, wrapping all that up, is don't have an ego and never feel like you've made it. You can always be better. There's always someone better than you are. So instead of getting upset about it, learn from those people and push to be a better version of yourself and of your instrument every single day.
I really like that, especially like, as you said with like Haley Williams has a vocal coach. Like, I mean, you can always improve yourself. Like, you don't stop like learning, any kind of instrument. I think it's really good advice, and that also applies to life too. Like, never stop learning about what your career you're in or where you are. You can always learn something new.
Brendan Urie's the same way. When Panic at the Disco first started, he was tone deaf. And look at him now. Like he's a prime example that you can only get better if you use the tools that's given to you, like having a vocal coach, doing your warm ups, whatever it may be. Like he himself is a prime example of you can get better, but you just got to apply yourself.
Well, he has high hopes for a living, so.
Stop.
I'm gonna catch you a dad joke today. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
All right. So with that out of the way now, moving on. So how did NVision come together as a band, and how did you choose the name?
So to back up into this, I said that I had a band in high school, and I was really close to those guys, and we were actually getting management offers and people trying to work with us back then. And then one of the guys in the band that came on, he was probably the third or fourth member change version of the band, which was nothing short of everything. His name was Caleb, and he was 16 years old. And he actually, while we were a band, he died of an aneurysm. And I got a tattoo for him on my shoulder, as he was a soccer player. Number 5 was his number. And that hit me really, really hard. And I swore I'd never do a band again. Because it was like losing a brother, a best friend. I don't talk to the family as much anymore, but anytime I see them, his mom still says I'm her son. And it was difficult. So when I started having that itch to perform again, I kind of started actually doing rap, because we were in a punk band, but we always made fun of Caleb because he listened to rap and hip hop. So we made fun of him. And then about 2 months after his death, I wrote my first rap. And when I started doing artists again about 5 years later, I kind of went into that realm and was doing like rap, hip hop, EDM, rock. It was like all of my influences from my entire life, trying to blend them into a single song. And as you would expect,
all right, Linkin Park.
It didn't go over very well. And I tried that really, really hard for about 3.5 years. And that's when I met Nate. And I was actually opening for his band at the time, him and Phil, the band that they were in. And I just kept on looking back at Nate's drum set with my backing tracks, and I was like, man, I really wish I had a drummer right now. and he reached out to me like 2 weeks later and was like, you still need a drummer? And so like originally he was just going to be the drummer for me in NVision, but his passion just kind of spearheaded with mine, and kind of made me realize like I needed to step down and stop being NVision and be a part of NVision. So that's kind of how the band started. It was, Nate, and then Kevin joined with the She Said video. Phil joined right before we released Perception, and then that we just added Chase. We also had a guy named Austin, who started with the She Said video, and it was the 4 of us, and he was actually like our, I guess, DJ, and he would like help us with our tracks and stuff like that and do them live. And he stepped back to focus on his own. He's actually an EDM producer, goes by Max. It's Maxked. So it's X instead of S, and he's phenomenal in his own right. That was the band. And Vision came from, I was going through a lot in my life at the time, and I didn't even see music as a possibility. I was actually performing just for fun under a different name. I met a guy named Lex, who really believed in me a lot and thought I had something to offer. And was like, hey, I can help develop you to get you to a point where you're playing these bigger stages, which I did. Even as a solo artist, I played the Republic in New Orleans, the House of Blues. Like, I did amazing things. But it was like NVision was started by, I can't see it now, but I can envision what's going to happen in the future. I can look ahead and see where this is going to go. I can envision it. And so that's kind of where that name came from.
Very cool. I really like the whole story about it, and the kind of where you started, where you came from about starting it and everything. So I think it's very, very cool story.
Not many modern rock bands out there today started as a rapper.
I mean, Machine
I don't
Gun
even think
Kelly.
Linkin Park started that way.
Nah, Mike Shinoda's always been there though.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Machine Gun
From one
Kelly,
genre to another.
I don't know. I think Machine Gun Kelly is cool because he's bringing a light back into the rock realm, but I don't know if he'll ever get like if they announced Warped Tour was back and Machine Gun Kelly was the headliner, like I'm not so sure it would sell out. He's still, I think, respected in his own right, but I respect what he's doing as far as like bringing attention to punk rock and rock music, but I don't know if I'd give him credit as far as like being a rock artist, if that makes sense.
I still like Eminem though.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Yeah. Slim Shady all the way.
That's right. No, I feel. I mean, it's nice that he's at least doing some pop punk stuff. I think that's it's nice that at least because I don't kind of went away for a little bit, but I'm glad it's actually kind of getting revived more. That other artists are doing it, but at the same time, I mean, he took a few promo pics with a guitar. I mean, that makes you a rock star, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And
Sure,
it's pink,
sure.
so,
Yeah, it's pink too. Yeah, for sure. All right, but focused on some rock stars I'm chatting with right now. You guys, I've heard, are working on a new single. Is that true? And can you give us any hints on it?
Who told you that?
The guy next to you.
Yeah, so there is new music in the works. I don't know when it will be released at this time. We actually are working on a second song right now, but kind of where we're at now is, a lot of people have heard about the end, but then there's so much more people that haven't. And so we really want to focus on putting that drive towards the end, because it's such a great song. It's so powerful. Its life is far from over, and we don't want to take away attention from that. So we do have new music, and if you're in Broken Hearts Club, you might hear some of like little snippets and tidbits of that from time to time. We're not going to release it on our public platforms. That's for our hardcore fan base, BHC, and live shows. That is the two places that you can hear the new things that we're working on. And we provide Broken Hearts Club for the people that, like Matt James, who's one of our biggest fans, who just happens to live in the UK. He can't necessarily make it to a show, but he can be a part of this group and be close to us. He has the first NVision shirt on the Eastern Hemisphere. So,
Pretty big deal.
Yeah. And so, we try to do things in there for them. The new single is going to be good whenever it comes, and we might send you a preview of it. But the end is really where our focus is at right now.
Yeah, that's the one that we're, because I mean, like even whenever we do this next little bit of a run that we're going to be announcing here soon, we're trying to get it out to the new ears, and people that haven't heard it, or if they have heard it, they haven't seen it live. So we want to make sure that everybody's getting a chance to hear it, and then as soon as they kind of think that, oh well, when's the next one going to come out? Bam, it's right there
in your face.
Fire.
Yes. But the two big takeaways is see NVision live, because I heard they're awesome, and I think I have 4 other people to say that they are awesome live. And 2, check out the Broken Hearts Club on Facebook as well, because it's pretty cool. There's some cool stuff that goes on there that I can't divulge right now because it's a club, and you don't talk about it.
Right.
Yeah, what's the number one rule about Fight Club?
Yes.
Don't talk about Fight Club.
You just broke it.
That's right. But a great lead-in, as I was going to bring up the end, because I really like the music video for it. It's very powerful, everything that went on in the video. So how was it filming it, and what's the message in the end? This is why I'm the host of the show. This is why I get paid $3.
I mean, I could have went with a Linkin Park lead up to that. It doesn't even really matter, you know.
I was thinking about that. I'm glad me and you think a lot alike, Nate.
Yeah.
I thought that would be too on the nose, though.
And no,
Why?
It was there. It was hanging on the edge.
the video shoot was a lot of fun. We had a blast. Like, you know, got up there, was up there how long first day putting all that stuff up?
About 8 hours, we set up the set and built it, and then we filmed for about 8 to 10 hours the next day. So
it was a lot of fun though. It's definitely to date. It's I think it's all of ours favorite like video that we've done so far, and but it's because it's coming into a new light. Like this is the new. I would just say this is the newer version of NVision that you're to be expected as in the next coming year or two now.
Yeah,
it's just gonna get crazier and heavier from here.
I love the sound of that. I really do.
The one thing I had to look out for on set, though, was try not to spook the two. I mean, I kept doing that a lot because I was staying in character the whole time. I think I got you in a corner in one of my entrance because you didn't see me standing there.
Yeah, so the demons or dark figures or whatever you want to call it in the video, it was Nate. He was the guy with the very visual mask, and the two dark figures was Phil and Kevin. And Phil is just so quiet in general, as you've noticed. He just stays quiet until he says, "I slapped at the base." So he was dressed in all black with his black mask, and we were filming in a dark corridor of this local theater, which support local arts. It's Downtown Stage Productions. They offered their entire, it was in between productions. They did Little Women, and then they were getting ready to do a couple other things, and so they just let us use their blank stage to film in. So we were backstage, which is dark to begin with, and there's a lot of shadows going on. It was for the chase scene that was in the end of the video, and I felt like something was next to me, and I didn't know what it was, and then my eyes adjusted to the light, and there's just this dark, tall, like almost 6 foot figure, which was Phil, next to me, and I legitimately scared
Asian
the hell
Slender
out
Man.
of me.
I was following him for about 15 to 20 minutes straight. He didn't say a word.
I didn't know he was there.
I was at your back the whole time.
And I had to add the dramatic. If you notice, like after I did the guy the knife, I had to do the Michael Myers head tilt. It was my nod to Michael Myers, me being a huge horror movie fan that I am. And the funny thing was, my sisters was talking to my mom, and they were like, I wonder who those guys were that was dressed up, and they was like, Mom's like, well, the one with the really creepy mask on was your brother, and they was like, wait, what? My sisters had no idea that was me.
Very well done. I didn't know you guys were actually the figures in it too. I didn't know that either.
So getting back to the point of the question, so
why are we getting off topic, having fun here?
Yeah. So the video, and we haven't actually talked about this, and I will be, actually making a video explaining it, because I actually wrote the script for it, and got to step out of my bounds a little bit and out of my comfort zone, and actually took over and directed the whole thing. So we had the filmographer, but I was directing scene by scene with my notes. Anytime that I wasn't on camera, I was like scrolling through my phone, making sure that I had everything checked, which was fun. It was a lot of fun. But basically, the end in and of itself is a song about the struggle to let go of the things that we know are holding us down, from being what we can be. And it's almost like this toxic relationship with whatever that harmful thing is in your life, whether it's drugs or it's money or gambling or a relationship or even maybe for some people, their parents, or anything, it's that struggle to break it out because you're so used to the comfort that you're afraid of what better could mean for you. So what the end is there was like this whole storyline. We use drugs in the music video because when everyone relates to being addicted to something is hurting you, that is the easiest way to get that picture across. So we had, it's actually a local rapper who averages of like 1 million views a month. I mean, this guy's awesome, but he wanted to break out into something new, which is acting. Trap Terrell. He did an amazing job, but he was our addict who was struggling with heroin. And so that was really a metaphor for whatever that dark thing is inside of you that you want to let go but don't quite know how. And so the entire video was like a glimpse into a mind where there's this darkness going on, but then you have this dancer is kind of like the lighter side of things, to kind of contrast between the darkness and the light, and that there's a balance and a war going on between the two to see which one is going to have a hold of you in the end. No pun intended.
Fun today.
And that's kind of how we showed, like, at the end of the video, he like snapped into reality and realized that this was all like an image in his head. None of this really happened, because even he goes back to the original place where he was at, and there wasn't any drugs or anything behind him. He just like snapped back and he's like, oh my God, wow. And maybe it's like he came to this moment where he realized what he had to do to get past things that held him back. That's kind of, in a nutshell, the vision
of NVision.
Yeah, I really like it because like just the whole message in there. I like the music video for the representation. As you said, you have to have a visual representation for addiction and things that are holding you down. And drugs is like people see drugs and they can understand what is going on. So I think it's very well produced, very well directed, very nice directing job. And I think it just turned out very well and just matched the music itself as well.
I agree.
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Hope so. It works.
Yeah. And we just reached over like I think 6,000 views so far on it.
Yeah. So I'm going to leave a link for the music video in the description. I definitely highly recommend everyone check it out, as well as we were kind of talking about it, so you can now see it and a nice tie into it as well. So I'll leave a link for that in the description of this video. Definitely check it out and get that over 7,000. Let's do it.
Let's go.
No. Let's get that power level over 9,000.
Exactly.
10,000.
I was
there we go.
bugged about that today. Because like Eric said earlier, I was at this million. I saw the dad joke book. I was like, get that for Alex later. And then looked
I
at
have
the corner. There are 101 dad jokes. Oh, please, that little pamphlet.
Yeah, I've got that one on my car, and then Alex showed me that one, and I was so jealous. Like my book is only about that thick. He's coming at me with a legit thick, like with 2 C's kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
Thick, you got a sticker too.
Yeah, so one of my favorite jokes in this book is, did you hear about the orange juice concentrate factory worker that got fired? The orange juice factory worker that got fired.
Nope.
Well, he was trying really hard, but it turns out he just couldn't concentrate.
Nice.
Woohoo.
You're such a dad.
Hey, you see that door behind you? Get.
All right, so now NVision's looking for a new singer, by the way.
Yeah, we're holding on.
No,
We
Chase.
got Chase.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
On a secondary vocalist for him.
That's right.
Right.
Dude, Chase sounds like so much like me. It's scary.
You're welcome.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I can. That's how I've taught myself how to sing. Is I just like if I listen to Motionless in White, I try and sound like Chris. If I'm listening to Linkin Park, I'll try and sound like him. So that's how it's just what I've done. And so with Alex, luckily I can reach his range pretty easily. It's just easy peasy.
That's what everybody was saying last night at the show. They were like, it's crazy like how much Chase and Alex sound alike, and I was like, yeah, it kind of blew all of our minds whenever we first got into practice and heard it. We were all like sitting there with his headbanging, was like, yeah, and then not realizing that was actually Chase singing some of the parts, and it wasn't Alex.
Yeah, that's how I've always thought backup vocals should be. You know, is they should be able to match what you're doing. Is I can't tell you how many bands I've watched live where the backup vocals have killed it for me.
Yeah.
Like Bullet from Valentine, I love their old bassist. He was a good bass player, but his backup vocals, I could not stand. Whenever Jamie came into play with his singing and screaming, that's perfect. So it's always been important to be able to really match what your vocalist is doing. Otherwise, just don't.
Yep.
That's life advice from Chase.
Yep.
Just don't.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't.
Just don't. Yes.
You can't do it, no.
Don't.
I got two more things to discuss, and we're wrapping up this interview. It's almost like the hour mark. But fun question for you guys: what music have you been listening to this week?
A lot of Ice Nine Kills.
Oh, dude, I am with you on that.
Yes. And some ska punk too. So like some Real Big Fish or Less Than Jake. That's been in the mix a little bit. And
Rolling Stones.
Ooh,
I love the Rolling Stones. I do.
Probably make fun of me for this, but Eurovision, especially the Line of Love, that guy's fire.
Oh my god.
From that all the way to Ailstorm. Listen to Pirate Chord.
Yeah, Hailstorm, not Hailstorm.
Yeah,
all I think about is Jack Sparrow going metal.
Nothing wrong with that.
I've actually heard
nothing at
of
all.
someone actually said that in another interview, and I was like, Hailstorm. They're like, no H. And I was like, what? I'm like, yeah, look it up.
Ale, the drink, yeah.
And Ghost. I always listen to a lot of Ghost. I love Ghost.
I am actually really excited because one of my favorite artists and the only artist that I have a tattoo for, maybe releasing the sequel to one of my favorite projects next week, Bobby Tarantino 3 by Logic.
Oh, nice. I can never get into
Got a lot of respect for Logic.
Yeah, look,
Definitely give it a listen.
yeah, Bobby Tarantino 2 is probably one of my favorite albums by him. It's very, like, hip-hop and trap-ish, while being fun and exciting. I used to be a very huge part of the fandom. So, like, when he came out of retirement and dropped some new stuff, like, I'm all over it. And I just love, I don't love, like, all rap, but I really love, like, the lyrical artists. Like, Whit Lowry is one of the most successful independent artists out there right now. And I have a quote of his for one of my tattoos right there on my sleeve, and it says, "The darkest nights make the brightest stars." And it's just like a reminder to me that, in the middle of actually, Nate was with me when I got this tattoo.
Yep.
And that was the time when that's about the time that I wrote the end. Because it was one of the darkest times in this era of my life where, like, pretty much every time and this is something I don't really talk about very much, but the guys could tell you, or everyone but Chase could speak to because he wasn't around back then, that if I wasn't at work, I was drunk off my ass, or I was getting high and just, or getting crossfaded, and just that's what I, like, had to do to survive the thought of being alive. And that's kind of where that song kind of birthed from. And that's why I got that tattoo, as a reminder that, it feels really dark right now, but, I'm going to make it out.
Yeah. I really like that. And, thank you for sharing that. Like, cause like music is very powerful, can get you like through a lot. And, just a lot of different stuff. It's a very powerful tool.
Yes.
Especially watching like live videos, I watch a lot of live footage of bands, especially Motionless in White's Dead stream they did, the second one. I have that downloaded on my phone. I watch that constantly, and that stuff like that will give me chills up my back. The hairs on my arm will stand up like nothing else but music has done. Especially watching live footage whenever the energy is really intense, you can really feel what he or she is feeling, and it's nothing like it at
Dude,
all.
some people might laugh at this, but like around the time my parents got divorced, I was going through like a lot of depression, and that was around the time that I discovered Stick Stickly by Attack Attack. And like I used to listen to that song like 30 times a day because that chorus, like, you never said this would be easy, but go on, live. And like that line was just like my lifeline and my motto back then, you know, like much love the guys in Attack Attack, man, because like them releasing that, especially like at that time, it just really got me through that stage in my life.
Shinedown, Shinedown has something like that for me. It was a song, and I can't remember exactly the name of it, but the line that really stood out to me, which is kind of a motto that I live life by, is you can't kill me with kindness because I don't buy it. And it's because when I was some years back, before I really took a long, hard look in the mirror and said, you know what, I'm just going to not really care anymore what people have to say or think or anything else like that of me. And I just got tired of all the fake friends and just the fake people that was in my life. So like once I heard that song and those lyrics still to this day, and then the Word Live also has one. It's for their song Life Cycles. No, not Life Cycles. I'm having brain fart. But anyways, it's I'd rather die for what I believe than live a life without meaning. And that's another one that I really sticks like right there near and dear to my heart also.
I really like that. I like how like people have different like music voice and differently of different lyrics and quotes and stuff that they use from different songs and artists and stuff. It's just really awesome. That's how cool like music is universal. It can bring people together and make you feel emotions, even if you're not seeing them perform. Maybe you are, but you can still relate to them and what they're going through.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool when. What?
Go ahead, Chase. You may go.
No. After you guys, please.
I was just going to say that, you know, not only working on a couple of singles, but The End is kind of the first release of what we're working on to be our first full-length album. And basically what we're doing is, you know, all of us as band members have gone through different things in our lives and have different mental illnesses that we struggle with. And you know, I often, one of my biggest struggles in life is bipolar tendencies and having these ups and downs, and being super depressed and then being crazy happy for no reason at all. And I want to really, She Said and Perception are two songs that I really realize that I have this gift that I can take someone's story and translate it into music. 'Cause, you know, neither one of those were my story to tell. And so I'm talking to the guys and kind of like interviewing, and not really interviewing, but more so like hearing their stories. And it's funny because one song that we haven't started recording yet, but me and Phil are working on it and we were talking about it, and I was talking about his life experiences. And so I sent him a song that I kind of felt like fit the direction. And then I was like, write down some lyrics. And then I wrote down some lyrics. And when we brought those lyrics together, him and I had both written like line for line the same thing. It was crazy.
I wrote like 3-page worth of notes from like, hey, this is part of my life. Like, you know, I'm just going to let you know because we're family. Here you go. Here, I stole some information. Just work off of that. Yeah. But was it 2 days later? You sent me the message like, here you go. I was like, okay. And I about cried. I was like, yeah. So this is us.
So this album is going to be, you know, the entire band telling their stories of the things that they've been through in their life to relate to other people and say, hey, we made it out, you know, and we're here, and we could have given up and we didn't. And so, we want you to make sure that, hey, don't give up. Like, that's one thing I say at almost every concert is, if you came to this concert saying that tonight is going to be the last night I live, then I came into this building to tell you, make it one more day. Choose tomorrow. And that's how I've made it through so many dark times in my life, because suicide is something that has often been on my mind, throughout much of my life, and how I've made it through some of those darkest nights is, hey, you're not going to keep, it's not, the thought of living a full life sometimes can be overwhelming. So when I break it down to, we're going to make this decision tomorrow, and I just like bring my procrastination into the mix. It's like, hey, we don't have to decide this today. We can talk about this tomorrow. So it's always like, we're going to make it to the next day. And then once you get through that, then we're going to make it to the next day. And sometimes that's all you can do is take life a day at a time. And that's what we really want to do, is provide hope, understanding that music community where we all go, we can listen to the same thing and go, hey, you know what? I'm actually not alone.
Sure. Yeah, I really like that, especially like the message you guys bring is like, choose tomorrow. You can make it through your darkest days. There will be a tomorrow. I really like that. I really like what you guys are doing.
Yeah, for sure, man.
I can honestly say that's the only time procrastination is only accepted, and I'm glad it did too. Really.
Yes.
Yeah.
It worked out for me. Yeah, that's
Yeah. Well, and two, we're very realistic. I mean, we don't sugarcoat stuff.
Yeah.
We're very, very much realistic. Like, how we feel is exactly what you're going to hear.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I really like that.
Lyrically and instrumentally.
And I really like that. So please check out Stream Sport of Life to NVision. Wrapping up this interview, but I do got one more thing before I let you guys go. So, how are you guys going to close out the rest of this year? I know you guys have been doing doing a lot of cool shows and been releasing some new music. So, how are you going to close out 2021?
Vacation.
yeah. We have a lot of cool things in the works right now. One of which is with we have a show coming up that we can't talk about yet, but it's with a nationally touring artist that we're really excited to announce. And we actually just signed to a management group out of LA, the Radford Media Group, which is featuring Jason Radford from One Side Zero. And we're really, really excited to be working with them. We believe that they can help bring us to that next level and meet some new people that we have not been introduced to yet.
Very excited about.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess I could say that, while I don't have this big thing that we can really say is going to blast out 2021, I can definitely say that you want to stay tuned because there's always something going on in the NVision.
But wait, there is more.
Yeah, that's always the thing. Like, even when we're quiet on social media, which isn't very often, but when we're quiet, I promise you, there's always something going on behind the scenes.
Always.
Just envision it.
Good. That was good.
Opportunity, but yeah, sorry.
I'm looking forward to everything you guys may or may not be working on. I'm looking forward to those announcements you guys will be making. But I'm looking forward to seeing where you guys go from here.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
I think we are too.
Sure.
Yeah, very much so.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
It ain't stopping. Don't plan on to.
No. Can't stop, won't stop.
That's right.
Get it.
But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me here on Super Cool Radio. Please check out Stream Sport of Life to NVision. Definitely check them out. Check out the Broken Hearts Club. Also, check out the YouTube video for the end. Again, the link will be in the description for that. For Chase, Phil, Nate, and Alex of NVision, I am Matthew Thomas, and you have been watching Super Cool Radio.
Hey.
That's super cool.
It is.
Stay frosty.